So does Kirby Smart earn his contracted salary? It's a good question. Let's talk about it. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. Stay tuned at the end for Stuckey's Scoop. Give you a little information that you may or may not know already. But right now, let's talk about what Kirby makes, what his peers make, and if these guys are earning their money. So it's important to remember that coming off the pandemic, a few things have been toggled. But let's talk about Kirby first. Kirby coming into 2020 made $6.8 million a year, just a little shy with a couple other bonuses of $7 million a year. His contract, which was updated after the 2007 season, got him on average over a period of time over $7 million a year. So we're a couple of years into that. 2021 will be the fourth year into that new contract extension. And when you look around the landscape of college football, and this information is as of late 2020, you look at top 10 coaches, top 11, there were people that were fired this past year who were top 11 coaches. Gus Malzahn, in terms of salary, $6.9 million, he was let go. Texas, Tom Herman, $5.8 million, he was terminated. So you do have a lot of coaches that are out there that are well compensated. Number one, as of November 17, 2020, this is according to reporting from USA Today, Nick Saban at $9.3 million, Ed Orgeron at $8.9 million, Dabo Swinney at $8.3, Jim Harbaugh at $8 million, Jimbo at $7.5, Kirby at $6.9, just shy of $7. Gus Malzahn was let go. Lincoln Riley at 6.2. Gary Patterson, it's a private school at Texas Christian, but the information that USA Today gathered was $6.1 million. And then Dan Mullen at $6 million. The thing that's interesting about Dan Mullen is that he managed to get an 8-4 season, or whatever it was, maybe 9-4, 8-4, into a 3-year contract extension. Losing his last 3 games of the year. Now he's at $7.6 million through the 2027 season, which is pretty amazing, quite frankly, considering he's never even won the conference in, I think, 10 years of being a head coach in the SEC. So the question, though, comes back to, is Kirby Smart earning the money? Is he cheating Georgia in any way? I'm going to tell you right now, generally speaking, these college coaches are not cheating their schools. This is a extremely brutal job, and it is a lot of money. There's no question about that. But this is what the marketplace is. I would say I don't think Kirby Smart is underpaid. He's not won the national championship. You want to start talking about winning the national championship? That's a different conversation. But, I think he's right where he should be. I think this is the appropriate level. I think if he were to win the national championship in the next year or 3 or whatever, and you get him close to 8.5 or 9 million even, that's a different conversation. I mean, right now, of the top 10 coaches, with the lowest buyout is Jim Harbaugh from Michigan, which they should be glad about that. And the second lowest is Kirby, and he's at about a little under $20 million buyout as of December 1st, 2020. So that number will drop a little bit further, or probably already has now that we're July 1st. But it is some of these numbers are astronomical, how in deep coaches are, or the schools are with the coaches. I mean, Ed Orgeron has a $24 million buyout that could get exercised this year. I'm not trying to be that way about it. That totally could happen. Nick Saban's at $36.8 million in a buyout. Dabo's at $50 million. That seems too high to me for any coach. I don't care who you are. Jimbo's at $53 million buyout. I mean, the problem is you just never know when it could go bad, and you're on the hook for $53 million. And, look at South Carolina. After this past year, firing Will Muschamp, they paid, I think it was almost $12 million. Or that was what the buyout was. I don't know what got paid and what did not, but my understanding, y'all can correct me if you want, was that was a significant, that was paid. You look at Jeremy Pruitt, his buyout was 12.8, but what happened to him? They let him go for cause. They fired him for cause. And that's, in today's college football, that's hard to get into that situation. Ryan Day at $45.4 million buyout, $5.6 million every contract for yearly in 2020. These guys are working constantly. They definitely, it is a very challenging field, extremely competitive. And, the fact of the matter is that Kirby is one of the best ones out there. There is always criticism to be had for any head coach, out there. But, we haven't heard any rumblings of him looking at other schools or the NFL like Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen is going to be very interesting to watch because I am not sure he will be at Florida in the coming years. I'm skeptical that he will. So his buyout probably doesn't, really mean a lot. But there are other guys out there where the buyout number is going to be something you're going to really pay attention to. You look at Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech, $12 million. People are like, oh, it's just $12 million. What are you talking about? You got to pay $12 million. At Georgia, that would be about 8% of your budget for the year, if I'm doing the math right. That wouldn't be nothing. And it would prevent you from doing all sorts of other things. So it's problematic. You do not want to get in those situations at all. And, the nonstop working, grinding, whatever you want to call it, in college football, in the NFL, there is a cycle. In college football, you essentially are recruiting, I would say, 300 or more nights a year. And whether that's, obviously that's not with you on the road, but it's just out and about on your phone, keeping up with stuff. You've got to develop players. It's a brutal job. The money's there because of the TV contracts and the media obligations, but doesn't mean that these guys aren't working to get that money for sure. Kirby certainly works plenty. So do I think he's earning that money? Yeah. Is he worth the money? To me, he is. I don't know who would be. College football coaching is about finding the best fit for your program. I do not think Dabo Swinney would work at Georgia. I'm not sure Dabo Swinney will work at a lot of places in the SEC outside of Auburn. But he really works at Clemson, and that goes well for them. You look at Nick Saban, I think he would work almost anywhere. But Kirby is a very good fit at Georgia, and he would probably be a very good fit at other places. Texas. There was always worry he would go to South Carolina or Tennessee if those jobs were open when he was available to do so. But he's at Georgia. It's his home. It's always been his home, and I think that's a big thing for him. The Stuckey Scoop is how much do you think Kirby was paid at the start of his career at Georgia? It was about $3.5 million. This was coming into the 2016 season, and that was a rocky year for Georgia. I think they were 8-5. He made $3.75 million. Excuse me, I said 3.5. And the interesting thing there was that Georgia was paying its head football coach fewer dollars in 2016 than in 2015 because Mark Richt's contract was a $4 million contract. I'm not aware that there was a buyout. I think it was just, what it was. I don't know if we'll see that anytime soon. But, Kirby came in at 3.7. When you look back in the day, coaches were making $750,000, head coaches, in the 90s. This is not that long ago. And now assistant coaches make more than that. So it's certainly a different time. And it shows the maturation of the product that is college football. It is big money. It's always been big money, but never really more than today. And that's your Stuckey Scoop. We appreciate Stuckey sticking with us during this summer, getting y'all where you got to go. Let's talk more about this on the website and down below, dean@dogpost.com if you need to email me. We'll see you on the website.